Hi Capricorn, I hope you're well. Welcome to your reading for the upcoming new moon in Leo, which happens on around about the 19th of August 2020. So it's fair to say that the last couple of months have been a little bit difficult. Since that lunar eclipse in your sign back in July, I think it's been quite tough going as far as certainly the cosmic weather is concerned, with those oppositions with Mercury and then the Mars squares that followed. But the good news is that this particular new moon phase is full of positive transits, so we should see some sunshine breaking through those clouds. But anyway, let's get into reading and see what messages come through. So just to say that I've had a lovely piece of copper, raw copper, sitting on the cards to bring in some of that nice Venus in Cancer energy, because I think we could all do with a little bit of good news coming our way. So thank you to all my regular subscribers for all your likes and shares and comments, and welcome to new viewers. I hope you enjoy these readings. I do them twice a month at the new and full moon, and also at the eclipses. So if you're interested in eclipse astrology, then do check out my website. The link is in the description box below. And also just to say that I have redesigned these cards, so they're currently at the printers, and I'm hoping that they'll arrive by the time I get to do the next full moon readings, which will hopefully then be a lot clearer on camera for everybody to see. Okay, I think that's shuffled quite nicely. Let's cut the cards. Nice. So going into this reading, you're going in strong, Capricorn. We start with Fortuna Major, which is actually the sun in Leo. So this is the sign of the new moon. And of course, the sun and the moon will be in Leo at the time of this particular new moon. So nice energy. It looks like you are very focused on your success, on achieving things, and on getting ahead. No surprise for Capricorn. So when it comes to family and home, your focus is on working together with others. This is conjunctio, which is Mercury in the earth sign of Virgo. So a fellow earth sign, this is where Mercury is exalted. So this is about working together often on the fine details. Mercury is very good with detail. It's also about being very, very practical when it's in Virgo. So I kind of feel as though you're working together with family members, perhaps on something practical, whether it is something to do with home improvements, buying a home, or just coming together with certain family members that perhaps you haven't seen in a while. Okay, interesting. A repeat here of conjuncture in your 7th house. So it could be that you are recently, you've recently got into a long-term serious relationship, or you've just got married. The 7th house is usually long-term partnerships. So it's possible that you have recently got married or engaged, and this means that there's a coming together of two people in a home. So say you know, maybe this high level of commitment involves moving in together, or it could be the combining of two families, or it could simply be about welcoming somebody new into the family. But there's a different sense of coming together, communing, literally, when it comes to both family and significant others. Nice. So in your 10th house of career, fame, and honors, we've got Acquisitio. This is Jupiter in Sagittarius energy. So Acquisitio is a very positive geomantic figure. It is all about gain. So wonderful to have in your career sector. It looks as though things are definitely going to be paying off for you, Capricorn, and that I think has been building in the last few readings that we've seen, where there's just been the sense that if you work together with others, there is a lot of gain to be had, there's a lot of success to be had, and this looks as though it is finally arriving. Often we see Acquisitio as kind of the culmination of hard work that you put in the past. So really, really interesting. But we'll get into this in more detail once I've done the conversion. So just hang 5 and I'll be back in a tick. So welcome back, Capricorn. I've done your conversions, which means we can get into your reading in more detail. So this particular new moon happens in Leo. So for you, that falls in your 8th house, which is the house of shared resources. Now, these can be both material in the sense of possessions, such as assets in a business, perhaps, the division of assets in a will. It can also be about sex and more emotional types of resources, so sex, intimacy, trust, those kinds of things. But whatever, there is a fresh start happening for you. Now, it's interesting that in this particular position, we've got counter draconis, which is normally what comes up at a full moon. So counter draconis is all about release. It's about letting go of things that no longer serve us, that need to go. So it's the end of a karmic contract. Now, this could indicate, for example, the first day of the rest of your life. So maybe you are finally paying off a tax bill that you've had to pay off in installments. Perhaps you are finally getting your freedom in the sense of, being released from a business that hasn't been kind of working out. But I do feel, though, that looking at your cards, that this is more about, a kind of a new beginning for you. So one of the geometric figures that comes up a lot in this reading is conjunctio, which we see here repeated twice in your outcome, and then we've also got it in your 4th and your 7th houses. Now, these are both houses to do with relationships. This is family relationships, and this is one-to-one significant others. So it can be business partners, or kind of consultants, people that we turn to for advice. But it could equally be about a marriage partner or a long-term committed, a high-level commitment, basically. So often a high-level romantic commitment. So possibly what's happened here is that you're kind of joining forces with somebody, either in business or in life, and this is meaning a kind of a change when it comes to mutual assets. So maybe you are going to have to update your will. You're going to have to draw up a new contract when it comes to co-ownership of a home. Who's going to pay the mortgage, or who's going to pay make contributions to the rent if you're renting. But there's some kind of change happening here in your 8th house. So at the time of this new moon, there are a couple of things happening astrologically which might be of significance. The first is that the sun and the moon will be joining forces with Mercury. So Mercury is the sign that happens to, or the planet that rules this figure, conjunctio. And Mercury is often about discussions, negotiations, communication. And certainly conjunctio is all about cooperation, usually with one other person. So I do feel as though there's some kind of negotiation going on here. It could be a new contract to do with a joint venture, for example, and equally it could be a new marriage contract. But whatever the case, this is about forward movement and momentum kind of building after a period of stagnation. So that's the first thing to say. The second thing is that all 3 planets will be making a trine to Mars and Aries. And for you, Capricorn, this falls in your 4th house. So Mars in Aries here is suggesting, again, forward movement, momentum, as well as, kind of where you focus your energy and assert your needs. So it's interesting that we've got this emphasis here on the home and the family. It does seem to be about, again, forward momentum. So perhaps somebody moving in with you, as I say, perhaps you moving to a new property, perhaps the two of you have bought either business premises or, renting a new home together. And so this is a coming together of 2 households. The other great aspect that's happening at this new moon is a set of positive aspects to the 2 lunar nodes. Now, these are currently in the signs of Sagittarius and Gemini. The North Node is currently in Gemini, which is here in your 6th house of work, and the South Node is here in your 12th house of the psyche. So I tend to see this axis in terms of the houses as being about the mind-body connection. And here there's an opportunity, given that these are 2 positive aspects, for you to make positive changes in this respect. Now, it's interesting that we've got one of the nodes in your 12th house. This is Capricorn, so this is the north node, but it's in the house of your 12th node. So it's almost like there's a kind of an inversion or a reversal going on in your chart, which is so interesting. So in the place where the planets are showing an ending, you're indicating a beginning, and vice versa, where we've got a new moon, which indicates kind of like new starts. In your 8th house, we've got Capricorn, the south node, which is about ending. So there's something sort of strange going on. There's a kind of a mirroring or an inversion of energy going on here, which I think may have something to do with this polarization that we're seeing between the 3 and the 5D at the moment. So it may be that something is a little bit out of alignment or out of whack between what's going on in the elemental sphere, sort of here in the 3D, and then what's going on with the planets in the 5D. And that may be something to do with an attunement that needs to happen, a kind of an alignment of energetic bodies and frequencies, so that you're in sync with your soul and with the planets, because of course the planets are the intermediaries between kind of soul or kind of spirit and body, between the terrestrial and the celestial. So that's just something to bear in mind. But needless to say, there are positive changes coming. So the North Node indicates new karmic contracts starting, and these, as I say, fall in your 6th house. So it could be that you are starting a new job, and that you've got new karmic contracts with colleagues. It could be a new pet that you're acquiring, because that is 6th house. But it's interesting, the geomantic figure is very positive. It's Fortuna Major, which is all about success, outward success. So it's kind of about you shining in the world, making your mark, about people recognizing your brilliance. So I do think this has something to do with potentially a new job, and that may be why we've got Acquisitio here, which is also about gain when it comes to career. And of course, Capricorn, you thrive off that stuff, so I think that will make you very happy. And then the final aspect that's happening at this new moon is a wonderful sextile, which is a very positive dynamic energy between Venus in Cancer, here in your 7th house, and Uranus in Taurus, which is here in your 5th house. So this is about positive changes. Now, Uranus is currently retrograde, and that can indicate more of sort of internal shifts, coming into alignment with your authentic self. Now, Uranus being here in your 5th house, this is the house of joy, passion, relaxation. So it's possible that, what's required, what is needed after all this wheeling and dealing that's been going on here is a bit of a holiday. And Venus in Cancer, being in your relationship house, this is very positive energy. It's very nurturing. It's a lot of cuddly kind of energy. So, I mean, this could be, for example, a honeymoon. If you are newly kind of hooked up with somebody, in terms of a high level commitment, it could be going on holiday together and enjoying some wonderful leisure time together, building and kind of nurturing your bond. But it's definitely about relaxing. It's about creativity, fun, all those good things. It can also be about children. So it's also possible with Capricorn here that this could indicate a change of status in terms of pregnancy or conception, for example. So it could be that a new soul is coming in for you if you have been trying to get pregnant, which is, wonderful, and maybe why we've got this emphasis here on the 4th house of family. But of course, that's not going to apply to everybody. I think it's fair to say that when we look at the outcome of your reading, that you sort of union either with yourself in terms of alignment within your energetic bodies, whether it is with one other person, whether it is with family, is certainly going to be a big theme over the next 2 weeks during that waxing moon cycle. And then Populus is also one of your outcome cards, which we have repeated here in your 2nd house. So this is the house of income, but it's also the house of skills and self-worth, how you value yourself. it's also about community. So it could be that you are starting to feel that you are really making a positive contribution to your community through your very particular skills. And this could be why you are shining when it comes to the 10th house of career. Maybe you've really found your calling and you're starting to kind of blossom. And that's why we've got this wonderful energy here in your 6th house of work too, where everything is kind of starting to come into alignment and you really are feeling as though what you are doing is making a difference to the people that you are working with. And then that sort of wonderful energy is then radiating out into the rest of your life. So, I mean, that's fantastic and positive, and I think a lovely reflection of Leo energy, which is all about the sun. So, yes, even though we've got some interesting kind of like discrepancies going on here, this is a very positive reading, Capricorn. So I think you can be pleased. Do let me know in the comments below how it's kind of panned out for you. And if you've enjoyed this reading, please hit the like button. Thank you again for all your likes, shares, and subscribes, and for all your good karma donations. And yes, all the best over the next 2 weeks, Capricorn, and I'll catch you in a fortnight for your full moon reading.